All right, guys. Today, welcome back to the One Big Puddle. Today, I have my two friends as my guests. My good friend Boobox
Hey.
and my good friend King of the Crows.
How's it going?
Um,
Honestly, I think that's a perfect summary of how most of these sessions ended up going with me and you behind the wheel. Like, Aaron, you were fantastic through and through. You did wonderful. And then you went, hey, Devin and Joe, here's this nice thing I made. And we went, let's break it and see how quickly we can do it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, but it was always fun.
It was
It was very
hilarious.
fun.
All right. Well, since we didn't get to hear it because I had the technical malfunction, we're going to be going over our Call of Cthulhu session. So, Aaron, can you please explain again what Call
Yeah.
of Cthulhu is?
For everybody in the back.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. So, Call of Cthulhu is like most people know Dungeons and Dragons. You know, you play as these heroic individuals trying to conquer evil. Call of Cthulhu is kind of the opposite, where you play as regular Kojos.
Investigators.
Detective.
Yeah, investigators, and you get into situations that are well beyond your control, and you try to do your best to solve those problems, but at the end of the day, you know that those problems are well beyond you, at least out of character. You know they're well beyond you, and yeah, there's a lot of fun in there where you kind of keep getting in over your head, and you know you're in over your head, and you just kind of keep going with it. And
Yeah,
that's the big thing of Call of Cthulhu.
one of the things about Call of Cthulhu that I love compared to D&D is D&D I feel like it always gets focused on to combat. While in
Yeah.
Call of Cthulhu, it's like you desperately don't want to get into combat because if you do, it's
Yeah,
more than likely someone is going to die.
Yeah, combat in Call of Cthulhu is exceptionally lethal on both ends. So, you could, on one hand, maybe you one shot the enemy, but more than likely, like, you're just gonna get obliterated in one round and you're just dead.
Yeah.
So you need to find ways around it through role playing or
means.
investigation. Yeah, any other different means outside of just guns blazing, and that's what I love about Call of Cthulhu as well.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you did let me go guns blazing against one enemy, and it worked.
It did.
Threw me through a loop when you let me do that. I was like, I thought I was about to die, and you just went, yeah, you're holding a shotgun, and you put it point blank to this creature.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
Joe, your character Joe, I don't want to hear it, dude. Your character was just extremely lucky. Multiple times.
I was super lucky, especially this one session. I adored the moment. Double fumble back to back with critical saves. So I should have died twice within the span of like 5 seconds, and I lived.
So our characters, I was Michael Smith, and Joe, what was your character? and we had our own investigation company out of Boston called Smith and Jelly's Investigators.
Investigations.
Out of Boston.
Was it
Boston, Mass?
Was it Smith and Jelly's Investigations or was it Smith and Jelly's Investigaties? I thought it was Investigaties.
It was Investigaties.
You guys kept saying Investigaties. I kept trying to
yeah, but
my character is an adult who's not going to sit there and look at
well,
another adult.
Yeah, but
like, I'm an
Joe, if you remember, your character was employed by my character because my character inherited wealth. So you were just an employee, so you didn't have a say in the name. So it's Smith and Jelly's Investigaties.
It was definitely Investigaties, no matter how much you didn't like it. It was, I mean, no matter what, it's 2v1 here on Investigaties. So, democracy.
I knew I was going to lose. It was just funny for me back then. Like, I'm going to try and treat this like a serious situation. And then I have Devin right next to me going, no, we're going to be Investigaties.
No, I wasn't even treating it as anything. I was like, you guys can decide that, but the Investigaties is what stuck, so...
Yeah, because he said it to everyone. The moment it was like, all right, you guys are going to stop.
That was the name on the building!
on
the sign!
You've been hired to come check out this one special area, and you have to find this individual and talk to them first. It's like, hi, we're part of an investigation group called Smith and Jelly's Investigators. As I'm like trying to figure out, wait, what's this person's name again?
So
So,
Devin,
yeah.
what were some of the escapades that
So,
Smith and Jellies got up on?
our
What was the first one?
Our
that you
first
remember?
escapade was the haunted house, and I don't remember what it
Mm.
was called, but it had something to do with Walter Corbett. I remember that.
Yup, it was
Yes.
literally called the Haunted House.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
There
no,
you go.
that's exactly it.
And this was literally our first game of Call of Cthulhu, like, ever.
Yup.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Joe and I's first game ever.
It was,
This is
yeah.
where we created the characters, Smith and
Mhm.
Jelly and Michael Smith. And who was it? Some character came into our investigation facility building and asked us to, what was it, to just figure out what was going on at the haunted house? Is that basically
Yeah.
it?
I
Yeah,
think
more
we
or
were
less.
hired.
Yeah, you guys were hired because there was if I'm remembering correctly, this person owned this property, the haunted house. He owned it, so
Yeah.
he was trying to sell it, and people kept just for one reason or other going insane in this house or something, killing themselves. So he's like, "Hey, some shit's up. I want to sell this house. It's worth nothing if people keep killing themselves immediately. They're not really buying it. They're giving me like $1,000 and then dying.
That's right.
I need you guys to figure out what's going on. Just if there's something crazy going on, let me know. If not, cool. Maybe I'll level it. Maybe I won't. It basically let it up to you guys. Like, what's going on with this house?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember exactly how it went because again it was so long ago, but I do remember a section we went into, like, some like building, and like the floor fell out from under me, and I found
Yup.
like a dagger.
It was
Yup.
a
You-
church.
Oh, was
It
it
was
church?
Yep, it was a church. Yep, it
Yeah.
was a church.
And I remember this dagger was crucial in my character's development because it slowly started to trigger my character into going just insane.
Batshit insane, yeah. Nutter butters.
I got
Yeah,
the
you-
paper for that right in front of me too. Devin, pop quiz. How much power did it have?
3.
10.
Oh, it had 10?
It had 10 power. Jesus.
10 power, damage plus 2. It was called Corbett's Dagger.
Oh.
Yeah. For those at home, what power is basically like your mana in a regular RPG. Yeah, you have to spend power to cast spells. So it had 10 power that I could cast spells out of, and it had its own shit. But more or less, this was just like an amplifier for casting like crazy occult shit. Granted, at this point, no one in the party had
Really
any
knew anything.
spells.
Yeah,
They didn't know anything.
our characters didn't know anything of the occult at this point yet.
None of
Like
it.
nothing. We didn't believe in anything crazy, or didn't believe. Basically, we didn't know anything about it. So
Yeah,
it's just
you guys are pretty adamant and be like, "There's nothing supernatural going on here. It's just the wind."
But I made it so that my character throughout this gameplay, the dagger, started to like take a hold of me. And I don't know if Joe, if you remember, but in the final scene in the house, I was like in the basement while you're trying to like, do whatever with Mr. Corbett. I'm like stabbing myself with this knife, like sacrificing myself to Mr. Corbett or whatever. Was it Corbett or was it the other guy at this point? I don't remember.
At that point, it was Corbett.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only person you had in the first session was Corbett.
Okay.
He was the only guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, do you remember that?
Yes. You going insane and then me being like, you had too much freedom to do stuff. You need to come back to reality. It was never real. Those things aren't real. Ghosts aren't real. And the whole time you're like, no, they're real. We're gonna follow them now.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like slowly turning, and my character was like convinced that these things were real. So I started sacrificing myself essentially to Corbett, like giving up. But at the last second, if I remember, Joe snapped me out of it, and we just left the building. Like we didn't.
Yeah,
we
you
actually.
guys- yeah, you didn't solve anything. You just left.
Hey, we stopped it.
No, we didn't.
You didn't
What?
stop it.
I thought we killed him.
No, you didn't. If I remember correctly, you didn't even kill him. You just left.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joe. Like, so Corbett was like behind the wall, like in his like standing upright coffin,
Yeah.
and he was like What was he? He was like doing something that was like making us go mad.
Yeah,
Or
he
like
had
Mike.
his own. Yeah, he had his abilities that basically like domination abilities. You know, taking over your mind, and he can also control his dagger, which you found, which you were controlling, or which you
Which
had.
I was willingly stabbing myself with already.
Yeah, but
Which-
he also controlled that. But if you were when you were already willingly stabbing yourself, there was no need for him to do that. So he just kept going into your brains. And he's like, brains, what a nice vacant hole. And yeah, he just kept like trying to fuck with you guys there. You guys couldn't like beat him at that point, and you guys just left.
yeah,
Like, you just fucked off.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember Joe just convincing my character like, "Hey, snap out of it, we gotta go," and then we left, and then that was the end.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
This is above our pay grade. We just need to dip before anyone realizes we punched in for work.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck this. We're out. I'm not getting paid enough.
So that was our adventure with the haunted house.
That was the haunted house. Yep.
That was a great introduction to it.
Next we went to None More Black, and we invited our good friend Josh to participate with us, and he was our junior detective.
Senior, junior.
He was only
senior, junior.
He was a junior first, and he was only a senior junior after we invited more friends to play.
That's right.
So he was just a junior first.
Yeah, so because None More Black was a one shot that took us three sessions to get through.
Yeah, it was a 1-3 shot. Yeah, None More Black was probably one of my favorite scenarios I ran with you guys.
I loved it. So many hilarious moments.
It was funny, it was engaging. What I liked the most about it is at its core, it was very down to earth. It wasn't very supernatural. It was basically like a drug problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a school. And like there's this new Yeah, exactly. there's this new drug on the block. It was the black or something like that. I forget what it was called. But it was basically this like this ink.
Ink?
Yeah, it was ink, essentially. This very pitch black ink that students were like putting on their tongue, ingesting in very small amounts, and they were tripping balls. And there was a huge epidemic going on, and I forget exactly what triggered it, but one of the staff called you guys because you guys were, old friends.
We're investigators.
Yeah, you're investigators.
We're very notable investigators at Smith and Jelly's
investigators. Yeah.
Professionals from Boston.
Exactly. And they're like, hey, our students are going Nutter Butters. Give us a hand. And y'all were like, bet. We're gonna help. And then Joe was like, let me take some of these drugs.
Well, before Joe took the drugs, dude, there's a moment I want to get to before Joe took the drugs, which he did do.
Can I take a quick guess at what moment?
Yeah.
All right, so let me set the setting. First off, we're in a college area, right?
Yeah.
College area, middle of the day. I'm talking like maybe noon to 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Roughly. I'm interviewing one specific individual that I believe might have connections. They definitely have a dealer. I figured that out through talking to them. And then I go to visit them at one point to check just to make sure they're good. The one spot that I know where to visit them, their bedroom. Don't ask me how I got that information. I don't remember. So I go to their dorm. I go to their bedroom. I knock on the door a couple times. I completely forget it's the middle of the day at a college. I get no answer, and my first thought is, this person's probably dead. I need to check on them.
So Joe fucking
I
barges down the door.
I may have kicked the door in to an empty room. And then, as I'm trying to discreetly cover my tracks and leave, because clearly I was wrong,
Me and Josh roll up and we're like, "Whoa, someone broke in here. We need to investigate this. Like, what happened here?"
These two very noticeably was like, "Hey, something's off here," and I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy. We should check somewhere else, though."
And Josh and I were just like, no, we need to investigate. Like, this room was broken into. We need to figure out what to invest. And then this is another thing I wanted to talk about with Number One Black. This was the section where where Josh and I were like, all right, we're gonna call the actual police because this room was clearly barged into. And then Aaron here had the brilliant idea of having our cop friend actually play the role of a cop.
Yeah, that was my mistake. He started getting too into it, and I'm like, damn, I can't keep up, bro.
He knew all
It's
the
just-
right questions to ask.
Like,
As
it's
we're
just
sitting there like-
it's just a game, Josh. We're here to investigate this haunted house. I'm gonna get drugged up. Exactly, stuff.
Yeah.
We're trying to investigate the paranormal, not get arrested.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
something
God.
else about Josh's character was because he was our junior detective. Keep in mind, Joe and I's characters were literally our age at the time, which I think was like 24 and 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Josh
And-
was what,
and-
60 something?
Yeah, Josh's character was our old retired policeman.
He's like a 60-year-old retired cop.
And
Just
his-
started
he's a
getting his
junior.
pension.
and he's a junior detective.
Junior detective. He had the big badge. We made the badge for him that just said junior detective, didn't we?
Yeah, we
We
did.
had the actual IRL prop to give Josh. Call him the junior. Oh my god.
So then the second part of this three-parter one shot, we ended up inviting is like 3 more friends. So it was Josh.
It was a lot.
It was
yeah.
Josh. Was it Bailey?
Bailey. I'm pretty sure Bailey was there. Yeah.
Was it somebody else?
Joe, me, Joe, Devin, Josh, and I'm pretty sure Bailey, and I think that was it. Maybe one more, I can't remember, but I know those people were there.
Yeah, but that session was one of like the most atmospheric sessions
Oh, yeah.
we did.
Without a doubt.
Oh yeah, I went all in. Like we had all the candles around. I lit them up. I got really into character. That was probably the most in character I ever got for Call of Cthulhu, and I
that's
thought
where
I thought it
almost
was
died.
great. Yeah, I
And-
thought it was great.
I remember it was during this session. This is where my character actually first met one of the actual like occult demons. What was his name again?
Still. No, that's the one I met.
Yeah, it was Yibstill.
It was Yib still was the main
Yeah, because
evil demon for Number Black. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I ended up being able to contact Yibstill, and I remember I had like a one-on-one session with him in like a barn or something, and I just remember at the end of it, like I remember that was like what got Josh Kelly like hooked. He was, oh shit, that was actually really spooky and cool. But like, I think a lot of that was the atmosphere
Yeah.
you set up too, which was great.
Yeah. I definitely went above and beyond to set up that atmosphere. But yeah, Yib still was definitely like the big bad of that. Because what the black was Yib still's blood.
Yeah.
So everyone that imbibed it was taking a bit of like this old god's blood. And they could like see like through the past and future and different realities, and that's what the drug was. It was them basically getting a high on, being, psychic.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember. So the second session is when Joe decided to go, crazy and take the drug. I'm pretty
Was
sure.
it the first time? It wasn't by choice. It was like,
No,
I got
Joe.
dragged
It
there?
was completely by choice, Joe. You were like, well, I gotta see why these kids are hooked.
It was by choice, yeah. You absolutely did it by choice. I remember hard. You did it by choice.
I know I did the second one by choice, but I thought meeting up with the dealer, like the actual dealer in that warehouse, he forced me to take some, if I remember correctly.
Did he?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I actually don't remember, so you're probably right
Yeah,
there.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Like that was his way of like trying to, because he knew the people would die off of this drug very quickly. This person's trying to investigate me and figure out all of my crimes and everything I'm doing wrong. I'm
Well,
just gonna force this shit down his throat.
I don't think you knew you were trying to investigate. Weren't you like what is the word?
No, I was caught.
Oh, were you?
That dude definitely caught me. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
It was while you guys were trying to get into there. It's like, all right, well, you've been brought here because I was in the street and I got picked up by the winged thing.
Oh yeah, the night gaunt.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he had the night gaunt under his, or Yib still had the night gaunt under his control there. So I
Just
forgot about that.
snatched me off of the street in the middle of the night,
Yeah,
brought me to a warehouse.
Scooped you up like a little snack.
And then after that, Joe kept willingly taking. Maybe it wasn't willing. Maybe he was addicted at that point. Was he?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But you were actually gonna kill him, right? Like if he rolled bad, he just got really lucky.
No,
like...
yeah, it was I think it was like a 95% chance that you just basically died, and Joe rolled like a 93 or a 94 out of 95. Like he was like 1 or 2 off from just, I don't think it was dying, but basically being so crippled to the point there's no point in playing the character anymore. He would basically just be a babbling idiot for the rest of the campaign. So essentially dying. And he was literally like 1 or 2 off. And I made a note of that, and I broke like the character of being the DM. I'm like, damn, you should be dead. Like, there's no reason you should be alive right now. You actually got so lucky. Yeah. I broke that little bond there, and I'm like, yeah, no, there's no reason for you to be alive anymore. Like you fucked up, you got lucky. That's basically what it was. It was like 95 or some odd fucking percent once you invite it for the second time. If you did it for like the third time, it's 100%. You don't even roll at that point.
I'm glad that
But
didn't
yeah,
happen.
that was crazy. I remember that distinctly.
So how did that one end up going? So I remember like I ended up again contacting Gibbs still. I had that like one-on-one moment where I was talking with them, and then we had like a showdown or something at like
in the warehouse.
Yeah, it was a big abandoned like warehouse, like butchery area, like yeah, whatever. And you had the big showdown there with all of the cultists or whatever, but once you guys were fighting the cultists, the black kept dripping down through the floorboards.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yep, into the bottom and pooling.
Because
and then there was a giant monstrosity.
Because I remember that the monstrosity like actually almost killed me.
Yeah,
like I got engulfed. I got engulfed in it, but somehow I miracle saved.
Yeah, you and Joe did like miracle rolls. Because I wasn't even holding punches at that point. I wanted you guys to die. Because at that point, I'm like, I'm playing Call of Cthulhu and no one's really died yet. Like, I feel like a failure of a DM. Like, these people need to die.
Fantastic.
But yeah, you guys kept doing your rolls, and at the last minute, you kept like breaking through and knocking out of the park. And yeah,
if I remember, didn't I use the dagger from I forgot his name already.
Yeah, you kept that dagger with you.
Yeah. Oh, I know I did.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I remember I used that dagger to finish off the ink beast or whatever, and that's when I made the miracle saves. And then at the end of the game, when we survived, Aaron's like, "All right, well, since you've contacted Yib still, you've had all this power with Corbett and his dagger still.
Yeah.
Here you now have this spell. You know this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was that, and you said like between stories, basically, like during the downtime, that you would be studying the book that you got from Corbett and studying the dagger.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, inside the book there is a spell.
So this spell was was a summoning spell to
Yup.
summon a dimensional
Dimensional
shambler.
Shambler. Yep.
The real hero
And
of the story.
the Dimensional Shambler is a very, very interesting creature. One of my favorites. Basically, they hunt between dimensions. And when you summon one, that's all it does. You basically put out, it's like having like a big like bug zapper, essentially. You just draw the mosquitoes to you, but it doesn't actually zap them. You just bring, like, the Dimensional Shambler is a mosquito. You have the bug zapper, but your bug zapper doesn't kill them. It just pisses them off. So you
Yep.
draw them in, you get them pissed off. And then that's basically it. That's the spell. And without the other parts of the spell, which is, binding them and trying to
actually
put them under your sway,
controlling the creature.
controlling them. Yeah, basically all Devin could do was just draw this really angry mosquito to him that would just kill the first thing
indiscriminately.
In its path. Indiscriminately.
It would have killed me. Like,
yeah, it absolutely would have. 100%. It would have fucked you up.
It should have.
now,
It absolutely should have if it was done at any other time. But continue, Devin.
now,
Story.
before we go on to the third campaign, I think I want to just say I'm pretty sure No More Black is the only one where we actually solved the mystery and we stopped what was going on.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah.
It's literally the only one where we actually finished the investigation.
We stopped
Yeah.
another one.
I don't.
Did you?
We'll get to it.
Well,
We stopped it. We didn't solve and report back, but we stopped what was happening.
It's not.
oh,
I think you're right.
yeah, I think he's right. We did, but
Yeah.
but
Hey,
I think you're right.
if you guys don't realize in chat, there is a theme here for a lot of these. Me and Devin, we show up, we do something wrong, and then we run away.
It's a good strategy. I mean, you guys lived for a long time.
It works.
all right. So the third one, which took place right after, what was it called, Aaron?
The third one was Servants of the Lake.
Oh yes. Now this was a one shot that was actually a one shot. We did it all in one session.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And Joe and I here, I mean, Toe Jelly and Michael Smith, that's Myth and Jelly's investigators. We were such good investigators in this one that Aaron told us
Stop.
to stop being such good investigators.
I got to the point where it's like they had enough, like,
Ample
proof
evidence
and
to go to the
evidence.
police.
Yeah, to just go to the police and just ignore the rest of it. Which, this was a pre-made adventure. I didn't really foresee this happening. But it's like, yeah, at this point they can just be like, okay.
Like legitimately had enough. Like we had the evidence. Like we saw the cars were in the bottom of the lake. We
Yeah,
knew...
it all happened at the it was a lakeside hotel, essentially.
Yep,
And the owners kept dumping the people's cars in the lake because this is like in the 20s. There's no like cell phones or anything, so way back. So people would check in, they'd dump their cars in the lake, and they'd sacrifice them to like this old god, basically. And like they got all that evidence.
And the next
And it was
logical
all-
step for us, like me and Joe were
Yeah.
like, the only logical thing to do at this point is to go to the police. And that's when Aaron was like, if you
No.
do that, the game is over. So don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It was like it was like, yeah, you can do that, and I didn't really think of an out for that. But like the game is just over. Like you guys will win. There's nothing left for us to play, so just don't. That's basically it. Like I want to keep playing. This is fun, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So our characters for some reason made the decision like, oh no, that's not enough evidence to go to the police.
Yeah.
Totally not enough proof to show that these people are in the wrong. Let's investigate them some more. Because
Yeah,
we're
they're-
investigators.
There was definitely something I probably could have done to make sure it went or kept going at a natural progression without just having you guys be like, you know what, don't go to the police. Like if you went to the police, I probably could have done something where the NPCs
police
covered it
didn't-
up, or didn't believe you.
Yeah.
Or, like, there's a million things I could have done, but I just didn't think of like in the moment because I didn't think this was gonna be a problem. I was just doing it off the cuff.
Yeah.
You didn't anticipate
So-
us finally getting something correct.
Yeah, I assumed you guys are gonna be dumbasses. So
Well, in this one,
Yeah.
Joe was a dumbass and he got himself caught.
yep,
Uh,
he got himself caught.
2
So-
games in a row.
So what, Joe? Do you remember what actually happened to get caught? Like, what happened?
So I was, if I remember correctly, I was in the motel like back room area where it was supposed to be
yep.
just for the employees and all that.
Yep.
And there was some kind of a, I think it was like under the floorboards. There was something that was like moving around that very clearly wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before I could get back to Devin to be like, hey, I discovered another thing that's not supposed to exist in this realm. The people that were running the motel were like, hey, we're aware that you saw what you should not have seen. You're not going to fucking move.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
sit right here with us until we decide whether or not you need to stop living.
Yeah. So didn't they sit you down and then tie you to the chair?
Yep.
Yep.
And then they were
they
just-
tied him to a chair. Yep.
They were pointing like a shotgun at you, like threatening.
Yeah. He had like the old timey like double barrel shotgun,
Oh,
like
'cause
old grandpappy's shotty.
Yep.
it was specifically the one that we went there originally like looking for, the one that we were hired to figure out what
the
happened.
original person, because there was the original person that you're looking for.
He
Yeah,
was
you
the one that
found
was
him.
holding the gun that was like, you can't know this.
Yep.
Yep. And so Joe's caught. I'm in the next room and I can hear all this happening. My character is, he's going.
a genius.
I wouldn't say genius, but he's been studying the occult, and he happened to learn this fancy new spell from studying Mr. Corbett's journal. So I'm over in the next room, just casually summoning a dimensional shambler.
the fucking the lantern, the bug zapper to call this mosquito.
So I'm casually summoning, and this spell, I'm pretty sure, if I remember, it's not quiet, so like they could hear me.
No.
And
Yeah.
I remember. So dude, I remember the scene, and this is my favorite scene from all the times we played Call of Cthulhu. I remember you're like, they can hear you doing this. So one of the guys opens the door. He steps through the door
because they could hear you, but they didn't know what you were doing because they weren't knowledgeable on that specifically.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the guy opens the door. He walks through the door. Sees this like giant insect beast that just one punches his head clean off as he steps through the door.
It was an insane roll on the Shambler's part. It was like a 2 or something. So in Call of Cthulhu, the way rolls work is the lower the better. You roll 2d10 and it's basically 1d100. So one tens is like the tens digit, the other is the ones digit. He rolled like a 0 fucking 2 or something, where it was basically like a 2% chance to roll. He knocked this dude's head clean off with his strength score. It basically just pulverized. It turned him into jelly.
And then the Shambler runs up and grabs the second guy, the guy with the shotgun, and dimensional shifts out with the guy.
Yeah, because the guy started shooting the shotgun at him. He did a shot and missed. And the Shambler just like charged him and basically body tackled him into the next dimension. And that was the last you saw of the Shambler. He had his food. He's eating.
And then I remember I ran into the room, untied Joe, and like, we have to leave.
We have to go. I think you guys heard like screams or something as it was splitting through dimensions, if I remember correctly.
Because everybody at that hotel died. Like literally,
they
Everyone,
They were
except
just-
you guys.
just Joe and I managed to escape because we knew we had to get the fuck out.
Yeah. And that was so fucking funny. I remember he punched the head off, tackled the other dude, and then there was just this fucking shambler screeching as this guy screams, and you guys like, we gotta go! We gotta go!
If I remember
And-
correctly, I think you ran up, like, holding the knife, ready to cut the rope that was holding me to the chair, like, get the fuck up and leave. Go. Leave.
Yeah, we have to leave. We can't stay here. We gotta go. And then I remember we like post game, we were back at the police station doing the end of thing wrap up, and Aaron's like, "Yeah, you hear on the news that mysteriously everybody at this hotel died. No signs that anybody's
Crazy.
there."
Yeah, they just died. Natural causes. That was one of my favorite. Like, even though there was that big hiccup in the middle, it was still one of my favorite.
It ended beautifully.
Yeah, it's that moment where I summoned the Shambler and it worked so perfectly.
It just worked so
where
well.
it shouldn't have, because my character couldn't control the Shambler.
No,
There was no reason
not
for
at all.
that to work as perfectly as it did.
Absolutely, and
That was
that
the bow on top of the shitstorm we caused.
yeah, and as the person running it, like, I expected that to go horrendously wrong, but it just didn't. Like, you guys did all the good rolls, and the Shambler had all the rolls that, like, not. I mean, good for you guys, not good for the other people there, but everything just worked. And that is when I go back and I look at DMs for other games, playing Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. It's a lot of the times there's a bias. It's always a bias towards the players. And I hate that so much. I don't like if I'm playing in a D&D game or a Call of Cthulhu game or whatever, I don't want there to be a bias towards me. Like I want a completely neutral dungeon master or storyteller, whatever the fuck you call it, depending on the game. Because what happens when you have absolute neutrality is you have these organic moments that pops up. Instead of, thinking like, oh, maybe it was just the DM giving it to us. Like, no, it wasn't the DM giving it to you. This is just what happens. And that makes the entire event so much more memorable and fun. And I love that shit so much. God. That's what I love
Dude.
about DMing. That's what I love about tabletop RPG.
That moment was one of the
That
pinnacles.
was peak.
It was.
Yeah.
It
Top
just.
three for sure.
It just happened to work out for us.
It
Where
was great.
It didn't work out for all the innocent people staying at that motel, but they were probably
Oh, no, they
doomed
got fucked.
They were probably doomed
just
anyway to the cult that was running the hotel.
I think
Yeah,
there
I
was
was gonna
one person. I think there was one person in there. I think it was the girl that may or may not have been able to get out, but her ass got destroyed by the Shambler once that shit was let loose. If I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. But everyone else, like, there was like 3 other parties. I think there was one couple and then another individual guy.
I mean,
and they're all just doomed at that point.
I got a lot of the stuff that you printed out as like little tips and notes and just random shit to add to the atmosphere in the moment. I have the guest list from that. I have
Oh.
the names, the room numbers, and the days they arrived.
Oh, go down through it. Yeah,
So
what is it?
the first one is Abe Hickey, room 4, December 30th. Jacob Trent, I think that says room 8, December
remember-
31st.
I think I remember Trent, yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, room 4, January 8th. No relation, by the way.
No relation.
James Frazier, room 1, January 8th. Sarah Bonner, room 7, January 13th.
I think it was Sarah. Yeah, I think Sarah may have been able to be saved.
Bill Dunstan, room 6, January 14th, and then that's when we arrived after that.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, the entire thing was basically everyone was being killed and then resurrected as servants of the lake.
Yep.
Which is literally the name, servants of the lake.
Oh, because weren't there zombies underneath the?
Yeah,
in
they
the-
were they're being turned zombies. Yeah, they were like in barrels and boxes and shit.
Yep. Okay, I remember.
underneath. Yep. And that's what they're being turned into.
I couldn't remember what like the actual like investigation part of that was. I just remembered like the key moments. You saying it just brings it back, yeah.
Yep, they were being resurrected as servants of the lake, and they were all doing their part into this. And once there was enough people, it was another god similar to Yibstil. It wasn't Yibstil, but in the same godly tier, I guess. But they were underneath the lake, basically chained. And
it was the cousin of Yibstil.
Yeah, Yibstil's fucking cousin. And they were basically trying to draw them forth, and they're getting more and more sacrifices. And you guys summoning the Shambler basically put a stop to that in its own way. Not the way that it probably should have ended, but
that's the other one where I guess we technically did.
Technically one, yeah, you technically got it.
But we
on a technicality, we stopped it.
But not like really.
It's like a technicality of doing a tactical nuke on Nuketown.
It counts.
It's like you win, but like, yeah. So that was the third one, right?
Yeah, and so then after this it's the one. So it's in the same universe, but it was the one that Joe didn't participate in. It's the one that I actually recorded. You remember, Aaron? The Cowboys?
Yep, that was Ties That Bind.
So Joe, for whatever reason, couldn't play with us this day, so we invited another friend, and we just started playing. We just made characters and played another one. But we said it took place in the same world.
Yep.
And so this one I actually recorded, so you could go and you could listen to the whole thing on my YouTube channel. But yeah, so in this investigation, it was me and my friend Mike. I was a cowboy named Joey Kelly.
Yep.
And my cowboy and my farmer friend was named Devin Herbert.
Yep. It started off, you guys were contracted because there was weird shit going on this basically a construction site that this rich person had in their mansion.
Yep.
And it all happened at the fountain. They had this big ornate giant fountain. And it got smashed and broken. And what was left were these big cylindrical rocks. And that's basically where it takes off.
Sorry.
What's up? No, you go.
I just heard a noise. I think I might accidentally. It's fine. Guys, also, by the way, sorry, I'm not ignoring chat. We're just doing a podcast, so, not really about talking to chat. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So, continue, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so there's these big cylindrical rocks in this fountain, and this rich old lady calls you guys and be like, what the fuck's going on? I had this whole operation going. I paid all these people. You guys are very big time investigators, and I need some help. Let me know what's going on. I will pay you money.
No, I think you got that intro wrong. Our characters were too stupid to be contacted, dude. We just saw a poster that said anybody that can help.
You're probably right, yeah.
Our characters were too stupid to be contacted by anyone.
Yeah, I forgot. Devin Herbert was specially challenged.
And it felt like this entire time our characters came off more annoying to everybody instead of actually being helpful.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But that was the main thing. Like, there was these rocks that crashed into this fountain and broke the fountain, and people were going missing, and the construction crew was calling off. And they put out the flyers saying, hey, help me figure out what the fuck's going on, please.
So, since Joe wasn't there, I don't want to hang on this one for, too long, because he can't remember with us. So, I just want to bring up, just one moment in this one. That's another top moment for me, and I'm so glad I recorded it.
It was towards the end.
Oh, yeah, it was towards the end when the creature, whatever it was attacking everybody. And my character Joey Kelly, just had the brilliant idea, instead of trying to shoot this thing, is that we were gonna we were gonna tame this beast. And I pull out my lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually lasso it. And then and me and Devin Herbert are holding on the rope. And this thing just takes off into the air. And we are holding on for dear life on this rope.
And I was like, that was another moment where I'm like, you know, a DM that's, you know, doing shit in favor for the players would do it one way, but me, I'm like, okay, they're just gonna go into the stratosphere. Like, this thing can just go through the fucking, it can go into space. This is a fucking alien being. It can literally fly into space. It's gonna take you into the sky.
Yep.
And you managed to wrestle it down.
Yep, we just happened to roll extremely luckily. And again, like, this one was completely recorded, and you could go listen to this on my YouTube channel to, like...
I was so annoyed.
To see... to see, but yeah, like, Aaron wasn't, like, holding punches. He was actively trying to kill us. Like, during this entire time, he's like, you guys are idiots. You should not be doing this, like...
Like, the entire... You can literally hear me getting more and more annoyed with what these people are doing. Like, I wanted them to die so bad.
You tried so hard.
I did. I'm like, well, they're gonna lasso him. I know they're gonna fucking keep hanging on. This creature's gonna fly into the sky, and they just managed to wrestle it down. They fucking cowboy rodeo yeehaw. It's like, fuck.
Oh yeah, and then there was a point we land back on the ground, and I remember the thing charges at me, and I remember I'm like, I want to. So as it charges at me, I want to jump over it and land on it to tame it like a horse. And I remember this entire time after I make that maneuver and I'm successfully on it, like I roll good enough, and I'm like, I'm trying to tame it like I tamed horses, and Aaron's just constantly going, "You don't know how to tame this thing. Please stop this."
Please stop! It's not a fucking horse, Devin! And all that was yeah!
Yeah!
Right? Somewhere on the character sheet for that it was like a mania that you had to lasso everything.
Yeah, so that was since my character survived the thing, Aaron gave me a new mania at the end. He's like, now your character just has the impulse to lasso things.
At the end, like, you survived, but you got the mania because you got insane enough. So I'm like, you just need to lasso. That's what you do now. You lasso things. Oh my god. Oh, that was fucking peak.
That was another good session. Again, third time saying it. That one's on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. You'll see you'll hear about my horse Hidalgo. And Devin
Hidalgo!
Yeah, and then Devin Herbert's horse, Ford the Mustang.
Oh my god. Yeah, how long is that? It's like 3-4 hours, right?
No, I cut it down, so it's only about an hour and a half.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's very listenable.
Oh, absolutely, go check that out. That's like peak Call of Cthulhu in my opinion.
It
doesn't take itself too seriously, but it has that serious edge, and it's just very fun.
The only disclaimer I have for that is if you do not like pretend Southern accents, then maybe that one's not for you.
The fake Southern accents from both of y'all.
Because
I found it.
Because when we play these tabletop games, that's one of my favorite parts is like actually role playing the character.
Yeah, getting into it. Yeah.
It's like I don't really hold back when I'm actually trying to be these characters, so you could hear it.
Yeah, it's great. It's honestly peak. But yeah, if you have a phobia against fake Texas accents,
there's even another character, and because Aaron, there was a point in the middle where Aaron's like, "All right, well, because you guys have Southern accents, everyone's just Southern," and then I pointed out, I was like, "But we're in Massachusetts."
It just rubbed off on me, man. It was a long night, okay, and listening to you two do the Southern accents, it just. Everything I wanted to say started coming off in a Southern drawl. I couldn't help myself. That was a failure on my part, but you know what? We're in fucking Boston now, and everyone's fucking from Texas. Everyone's
I
from
got-
Georgia now. I couldn't help it, okay? I'm only human.
I got just a real quick. I have a complaint.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you gonna label a lasso as a weapon?
It's a weapon!
Yeah, Joe, it's a weapon.
I'm looking at the character sheet for Joey Kelly, played by you, Devin.
Yep.
Occupation: cowboy. Age: 25. Residence: Boston. Birthplace: Boston. Weapons: a handgun, a blade, doesn't specify what kind, and then a lasso.
Oh, I remember. Okay, that's something else about this one is that I remember that like when it finally came down to the evil horse flying thing. What was it? What was it actually called, Aaron?
I can look that up. It might take me a second.
Okay, well, whatever it was, it ended up biting Michael. It ended up biting Devin Herbert. So I ended up taking out my trusty six shooter and just popping 3 shots real fast. Pop, pop, pop. And each shot did more damage than the last. And I basically one tapped the thing.
I'm not done reading. I'm looking at the back of the paper now. Again, this is Devin's character. Ideology / beliefs. Believes in Jesus. Significant people. Grant MacDonald. Musician.
See, that actually, the Grant McDonald significant person thing comes up in the game. Like, if you listen to it, it comes up. Like, it plays an important role.
That's a deep lore.
It shouldn't.
We're not done. There's a quote written down. I'm assuming from Devin playing this character. I want to make Grant happy in any way I can.
Gets on his knees. And he's ready to please.
Meaningful locations. Devin, can you guess where the meaningful location is that you have written down?
Is it Ram Ranch?
It's just labeled as the ranch.
Oh, okay.
The creature, by the way, it is a Byakhee.
Okay. It was like a flying creature. It had like a horse head, right?
It's basically like a Pegasus, you know, a horse with wings, but you know, more Lovecraftian and skeletal and crazy looking. But that's the basic gist.
And the last little bit of this paper that I'm looking at right now that I want to bring up, there's a treasured possession. What do you think this treasured possession is, Aaron?
It's the Grant McDonald autograph.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was
Thank you for answering the question, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
I would have been able to say that because it was the autograph. Like, that was a very important moment for the character.
Yeah, like in the game, there was the moment. Oh, at the end, I'm pretty sure that was stolen, and that's when I got my mania of lassoing.
Yeah, because someone stole your autograph.
I'm guessing you tried to lasso the person who was trying to steal it?
Dude,
I think that was off screen.
Dude, I remember there was a time in that one where, like, this disgusting, bloody crime scene just happened, and Officer Josh Wood thinks it's a great idea to bring these 2 random cowboys he just met into the crime scene.
This absolutely brutal. Like, someone literally just got, like, imploded. Like, their guts were everywhere, blood stained the entire room, and people are going crazy, and then Josh's like, I know 2 perfect people for this mission.
And that's when
talking about Grant McDonald.
Yeah, that's when
and Hidalgo.
Yeah, my character goes in the room and just goes crazy after seeing that. But then the funniest part though was that Devin Herbert was too stupid to be scared.
That was one of my favorite mechanics for Call of Cthulhu. You could literally just be too dumb to be scared. You just didn't understand what was going on, so you can't be scared by it. And that was him. It was like, oh, someone sprayed tomato juice all over the place. Hidalgo! Like, it was so dumb. It was so fucking funny.
I highly recommend everybody go check that out on my YouTube channel.
Please
it is hilarious.
It's such a good episode.
If you're into Call of Cthulhu, that was one of my favorite sessions. I'm so glad I recorded it in secret and told them at the very end, like, hey, I recorded that whole thing.
If you're into listening to me get more and more pissed off, like, Not pissed off, like actually, but like
Annoyed because
Annoyed with
Getting
the
annoyed.
shenanigans.
getting annoyed with the shenanigans. That's peak. No, that's one of my favorite
Right?
examples.
It's like
of,
right at the beginning of the episode, Aaron's trying to like figure out how to write us in, and he's there's just this moment where he's like, "I'm sorry, I thought you guys would make knowledgeable characters to fit into this world. You played this game before.
You played this before, Kevin.
Why did you make fucking stupid characters?"
So I also be like, oh yeah, an investigator or something. It's like, no, I'm a cowboy. Get on the doggo.
Yeah, giddy up and doggo. Yeah.
What?
All right.
I got so annoyed so early. It's great. I kept it going. And so
Alright.
did they.
So we go from those two absolute banger sessions to probably, in my opinion, the worst session of Call of Cthulhu that we've ever
Objectively the
played.
worst.
The snake tunnel.
Yeah, it's the darkness beneath the hill. And so this requires a little bit of backstory. Because I have the book here with me, and I've done reading on the adventure itself, or the one shot itself. It's part of a little compilation of things. Anyway, the darkness beneath the hill is technically the first adventure in the entire book that I got you guys through. So it's Darkness Beneath the Hill, Genius Loci, which we never did, and then that's also Servants of the Lake, Ties That Bind, and None More Black. All in the same book, all of them.
Yep.
Darkness Beneath the Hill is the first one. And this is part of the Doors to Darkness book for Call of Cthulhu, which is a very nicely put together book. In fact, that adventure is what the cover is based off of. It's a snake eye on the front. And the reason why that adventure is in there is it's basically supposed to be a bridge from Dungeons and Dragons to Call of Cthulhu. And I think it's terrible. But I can see where they were going, because they basically try to turn Call of Cthulhu into a dungeon crawl. And that's basically what it was on you guys then. You know, you're going through this dark tunnel and exploring each little section and going to the next one, and there's a few encounters, and there's like basically a boss at the end.
Yep.
And I can understand, I can appreciate what it's trying to do. It just does not work at all. So basically what this scenario is, before I throw it back to you guys, you guys had a friend in, was it Salem or somewhere somewhere in New England?
I think it was, wasn't it Ipswich?
May have been Ipswich, yeah. It's probably Ipswich, actually. A friend with a very wealthy estate, and he recently, in his wealth, discovered that there was like a secret passage in his basement. Yeah. And he wanted to explore it, but he wanted more people there because there might be some archaeological discoveries, and he wanted to make sure that it was all on the up and up, and he could make as much money as possible. And he invites you guys over, and you guys stay the night, and while you guys are staying the night before you go into the tunnel, he gets a little trigger happy, and he goes to the tunnel on himself, and you guys wake up, he's not there, realize he went in, and cue the adventure, trying to find him. And what were you guys' initial thoughts on the adventure? I know you guys know how it ends, but going into it, what do you remember going into it?
I remember when we first got to the entrance of the cave, specifically the thing that like allowed me to have my happy moment with that run was the fact that he left his important tools at the entrance. That was like the clear giveaway that he wasn't in his right mind. Something was going on, and we had to go find him. And you left that lovely little detail of, he left his rifle right here by the entrance. I think it was also like a shovel and like a couple other things. I was like, I don't care about all the other shit. I want the gun. That's mine.
It was his rifle, a shovel, or a pickaxe, and I think it was like a heavy-duty flashlight, essentially. I think that's what he left.
I really don't remember. Like I know how it ends, but I don't remember like a lot of what got to that point. Do you, Joe?
I know I believe there was talks like in game between our characters and him saying like he was having weird dreams that were recurring almost every night, and that's why he wanted like
Well, did we just? What I mean is, like, did we just go into the tunnel? Because I know once we went in, it did not go much.
yeah. So from what I can recall, it started off with like the whole idea of bringing people to his estate was so that way as a group everybody could go down at the same time. He goes in the middle of the night when everybody is sleeping, leaving his stuff at the entrance so that like that's the all right. Clearly he came down here, he went to go in. He's got to go get found now because he's obviously gone down into this tunnel, but he's not in his right mind. He's been losing sleep, he's going insane.
And then I remember when we did. So we ended up going into the tunnel, and a lot of it, as Aaron said, it's like a dungeon crawl. So it's not really
Yeah.
what used to is
Call of
playing as
Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu. Uh, thought it's not as much like investigating. So I remember we ended up just going deeper and deeper into the tunnel, and then we have ended up finding our friend. He was locked in a cage, and we had no way to get him out, but we were trying. But then from both directions of the tunnel, guards were coming. Like we
Yep.
didn't know they were guards, but like people were coming or
Yep.
I think
something.
I remember what drove him crazy. It was specifically us, like in air quotes, joking about all the different experiences that we have gone through with the paranormal creatures. And then at the very end of us, like, fully detailing all the different things that have happened to us that was paranormal and not actually, like, within a sane individual's lifespan. We were like, oh, yeah, those are funny jokes we just told you. Ha ha ha. And he's like, because I remember, I think, Aaron, you explicitly said, like, I hope you guys realize you just fucked his head up. The moment he realizes these things are real, he's gonna
Yeah.
realize everything is real.
Oh,
yeah,
and
because he was in a very fragile mental state because he just saw like these weird fucking almost prehistoric ape people and these crazy snake guys and crazy runes and glyphs in this stupid tunnel, and you guys are saying like, oh yeah, also like ghosts exist
Ghosts
and
exist.
crazy
There's
vampires and crazy
dimensional
beasts that can
shamblers.
come out of dimensions to eat you. Like, yeah, they're all real. And his brain exploded.
Yeah.
Like, he just turned into a babbling mess. He's like, oh,
Yeah, didn't he? Okay, so I
no.
think I remember. Didn't he like start screaming, and that's what caused the guards to come from like both
alerted the
directions?
guards.
I think so,
Yep.
yeah. Because you just blew his mind, man.
Yeah, but this leads to
Yeah.
the unfortunate end is that happened to Smith and Jelly's. They perished there in that cave.
They did. Yeah. It was so they had the slaves, which are basically like Cro-Magnon men, like Ice Age human beings essentially that were enslaved long time ago by these snake people, and the snake people were sleeping, but there was one of them, which is the main character or main antagonist of this adventure, who's also on the cover of Doors to Darkness. If you look up Doors to Darkness module, the actual book, that's him on the cover. This one snake guy who was kind of keeping them all under his thrall. And as they were coming, he kind of just killed you guys pretty handedly.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember because that's the moment you let me like actually fight back against. Like the entire time of playing these games, you were always like, by the way, don't ever think that you're gonna win a fight because you won't. If you try to fight, you're dead. No questions asked. Like you are just a regular human. You are not about to fist fight a god and then think you're gonna even come close to winning.
Yeah.
Me holding this psychopath who has no brain left, I'm holding his rifle, waiting around the corner for one of low level essentially creatures to come wandering towards me. And the moment he was right around the corner from me, you just let me just like pretty much point blank put the rifle to the head, pull it, and that was a one shot for me. That was my happy moment of it. I had a victory there. Even though I lost, I won.
Easy.
Yeah.
Eh.
But I know that we didn't survive much longer after that.
No.
And then
No.
I remember at the time, Aaron was like, you know, that didn't go well. That was a very rough campaign. Like he knew like it wasn't really
It
fun.
was, yeah.
It wasn't
I knew
really
that was
fun.
bad.
And we
No.
were like, yeah, that was a dream. We'll continue playing it like at some point.
But we
But
never did.
we never ended up playing as Smith and Jellies again. So I like to say that that is the canonical ending of our characters.
Yep,
Yeah.
they died beneath the hill. And by the way, I just looked it up. That guy's house that you're underneath, that was in Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh,
Darkness Beneath the Hill, a friend's house renovation project leads to unexpected discoveries in Providence, Rhode Island.
ah.
So you guys died in Rhode Island, the worst
even in
part of New England.
Massachusetts.
The worst part of New England.
Come on, dude. A lot of people say Connecticut's the worst part of New England.
Yeah, but at least Connecticut's like a state. Rhode Island is like a highway.
What are you talking about? Rhode Island has a beautiful beach area.
Yeah, that's all it is.
we
Anyway.
we did have one more Call of Cthulhu game to talk about. This did not. I don't believe it took place in the same universe because this was a modern day adventure.
Right. This
Eh.
was this is technically not Call of Cthulhu. I mean, based on the same system, but it was technically Delta Green,
Yeah.
which is based on Call of Cthulhu, but you guys are it's more like what is it? SCP.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You guys are like SCP agents and trying to contain these things more or less. You guys are modern soldiers with modern like soldier equipment. Is a better way to put it.
So I
but,
think
yeah.
I think I keep thinking it's Call of Cthulhu because I remember at the end of
it basically is Call of Cthulhu, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, the Subway Surfers ended. I need to put on more Subway Surfers. This went on a bit longer than I thought. So at the end of Ties That Bind, even in the audio recording that you could listen to on my YouTube channel, go check it out. You said that the people who came to investigate Devin Herbert and Joey Kelly were Delta Green.
It was Delta Green. Yep. Yeah, I said that because I was reading Delta Green at the time, and Delta Green is a system based off of the Call of Cthulhu system, but just basically made to be modern. So it is Call of Cthulhu in basically every sense. So and more or less, yeah.
Joe, were you there for this event? I'm pretty sure you were there, right?
I don't think so, because I'm listening to you talk about it. I don't remember anything of that.
So it was a big group. Like this was probably the biggest group we ever played with. Like Kurt was there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
that was the only time Kurt played.
Yep, Josh was there.
Yep.
But like your cousin was there. I'm pretty sure Bailey was there. It was just Bailey like a huge group.
There, yeah.
Because the twist of this one was that wasn't this monster like turning us? If I remember,
it was like the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had you guys in on it, and I would keep pulling people off to the side and trying to do secret text messages and stuff to people to try to get what they were doing. It was very hard to pull off in real life, but I liked how it turned out at the end of the day. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it.
I remember I wasn't there for that, but that's only because of one incident from it that was described to me later on. Like, this was fucking dumb.
Shit.
I thought it was fun. I'm pretty sure everybody died, but you know, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone did die.
So I'm pretty sure this one, I thought you were there, Joe, so I'm sorry that you weren't.
That's fine.
But so I'm pretty sure this one started and we were like investigating an old like creepy house in the woods, and there was no running water or whatever, but for some reason there was a water tank.
Yep, there was a tank beneath to the side of the house.
Yeah, but so that was one of the things we knew immediately. It was like, that's weird. This place has no running water, but there's a water tank right. So we investigate it, and then there was like it was like a little girl inside of the inside. But little did we know that opening that was the doom for everybody.
It killed everyone
because it turned some of us evil, and then we all just, you know, the thing. We started, you know, being paranoid.
it was the the girl was, if I'm trying to remember this because it's a long time ago. I'm pretty sure the girl was like the daughter of the owner. Um, basically, the thing, quote unquote, is just the best way to phrase it. The thing took over the little girl, took over everyone else, but the other ones died or something. So the only one that was left is the daughter thing, and it was locked into the
Water.
well.
Yep.
And once it was released, you guys tried to do medical attention and all of that, and then like night came or whatever, and people got separated, and that's when it struck. It's
Yep.
like, yep, and took over one person, and now there's two of them. I controlled one, and another player controlled another, and then the next, and the next, and the next.
Yep.
And it was like a rapid fire thing. I thought, for trying to do what, you know, that kind of situation in an in-person game, I feel like I did a good job.
Yeah, I thought it turned out really well.
Yeah, it was probably not great as a session, but for what I was trying to do, I liked it. I thought there was tension. I thought it was pretty action-packed. I don't think anyone was sitting there just doing nothing for a long time. Everyone was kind of involved, and I thought it was fun.
I remember having a lot of fun with that one. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, if I remember correctly, my character was actually the last one to die. And then
I
it
think
hit
so,
me,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, so that was what was happening. I got it. Because then I
Yep.
turned into one at the end. It's like, well, we lose.
Well, we lose. It
So
was kind of an anticlimactic end, but I liked it.
But no, it was like you say it was anticlimactic, but I remember everybody in the group was like cheering because it was like because they all had turned, so it was like, oh, we won.
Yeah, so
It was-
they all won.
Yeah. So in the end, we all won by
Yeah.
losing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. That's great. I'd love to do that kind of style again. That sounds fun.
No, you really weren't there for that one? It was the only
I
time.
wasn't.
It was the only time Kurt ever played with us. So I guess you weren't there for that.
And the reason why I know I wasn't there for that, it was because the way that Aaron had once described one of the player characters, Brandon, his character pretty early on did get turned, and Aaron tried to warn him, like, "Hey, you're a part of the evil side of team now. You're not with your human friends anymore. You need to follow my cue. I'm gonna let you know when you need to kill one of them." And this kid, I'm sure he tried his hardest. His little heart was pumping, ready to go to help serve his master. Failed the task because he had no moment where he was like, "This is going to be the cue he's going to give me. I understand this is the cue. Now I'm going to act on it." The way it was described to me was like, you kept trying to get him to be like, "This is when I need to attack," and he was just in his mind like, "I'm waiting for the cue, boss. Tell me when."
Tell me when.
Oh, so Brandon and Mike were there for that too. Was his name Brandon? I forgot, so it doesn't matter. But I know
Yeah,
Mike. So Mike and whatever his friend's name was there.
I don't remember a Brandon at all.
I remember he played D&D with us too. In like I think it
Yeah.
was the pirate campaign.
Yep.
You remember? Throwback.
Oh my god! Wait, yeah, that was
Dude,
so.
and
Oh my god! Yeah.
remember he also played with us when Mike was hosting. He was being the
Yep.
DM and I was click click and you were
Yes!
click click.
Click
The
click.
birds.
Oh
the
my
twins.
god! Yeah, I remember now. Holy shit! Oh my god! That's wow.
That's the only thing that I know about that last campaign that you guys had.
Fuck.
Yeah, so I think that was our 5 or was it 6? 6 Call of Cthulhu games that we've ever played. And
Yeah.
they were a lot of fun. I love Call of Cthulhu.
They were amazing.
I genuinely love Call of Cthulhu because I already said it at the start, but it's not so much based on combat because like I like D&D, but to me personally, it feels like it's it always just boils back down to combat. Combat,
Yeah.
combat. And it's
Combat,
that's
combat,
not the
combat.
part that I find fun. I find the role playing fun. The investigation part fun. Like solving
And that is-
mysteries.
Call of Cthulhu is 95% roleplay, 5% action.
Also knowing that when there is the action, it is deadly. Because in
Yeah.
in D&D, combat is not deadly. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not. Yeah.
there's no
So-
consequence to it. Like,
When it comes to role playing games, there's like 3 pillars. There's combat, there's exploration, and there's role play. Those are the main 3 pillars.
Mhm.
And when people talk about them, there's basically 3 games that encapsulate what each pillar is. Dungeons and Dragons is combat focused. It does the other 2, like there's exploration, there's role play in Dungeons and Dragons, but it's mostly combat.
yep.
In Call of Cthulhu, there's combat and there's role play, but a lot of it is exploration. And exploration can also be called investigation. But
Yep.
that's a lot of what Call of Cthulhu is. And then the last one, the other big one, is the storyteller system, which is Vampire the Masquerade and Hunter the Reckoning, Werewolf the Apocalypse, the whole World of Darkness system. That's a lot more on the roleplay side, less on the exploration and less on the combat. So those are kind of the 3. You know, you have D&D for combat, Call of Cthulhu for exploration, and World of Darkness system for roleplay.
Yeah.
And I think they all do wonderful jobs at what they do. It's just D&D gets tiring because it's just
Yeah, with how
I
much
don't know.
with
I
how
love
much
combat, but
with
it's
how
too
much we've played D&D, like I always, as I already just said, like I always just felt like each session just boiled down to combat. Like where were we going to be in combat
Yeah.
against this session? And
Yeah.
if there wasn't combat in a session, I remember there was a couple times where that happened, and at the end you were like, I know that wasn't a good session, and it's like, was it though? I thought it was fine. Just because there wasn't any
Yeah.
combat, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing with D&D. It's because 90% of the rules in all of character progression is just combat focused. It's like if you don't have combat in a session, it doesn't feel like a good session. Like you're not using all of the characters' abilities because most of it is just combat orientated, which is what I don't like about D&D and its derivatives.
Well, guys, this has been fun. Maybe
Yeah.
we should have us on again, and we could talk about our D&D sessions. That could be fun to do.
Oh god, that's even more in the back of my brain. Holy shit.
I'd have to
I-
really dig deep to remember too, because I don't remember a lot.
I
I
remember
remember.
I remember a waterfall and someone jumped down. Was that Josh?
No, I remember. I think what you're thinking is of the moment when Josh jumped up a 20-foot
Oh,
waterfall because
yeah,
he rolled
yeah,
a
yeah,
d20.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're like, just describe the situation and you do it. So he's like, I jump up this 20-foot waterfall, land on my feet, and chop the guy's head off and just drink his
Yep.
blood. It was like, okay.
Like, damn, shit. Bet. Yeah.
I
no,
remember
that sounds
I already
fun.
brought it up, like me and you had the twin characters, Cleek Click and Click Click,
Click, click.
the
Yep.
birds.
The Aarakocra.
Yes.
Eric Akra.
I remember, and then the other game session that Mike hosted, me and Aaron had the duality characters again, where Aaron was like an evil.
A tiny evil like gnome. I remember when my
Yeah.
character was introduced, I broke the seat.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I was trying to do a heroic pose, intimidating pose, and I smacked my leg down on like this big stool or seat, and it's just broke in half, and it took me by surprise.
Was my character in that one Lobama?
Yeah, it was low pop.
I just remember for that session you were a pacifist character.
No, I remember. So one moment I do remember about Aaron's tiny D&D, the tiny evil character, and my normal character. Like we ended up playing it off
You
like
held
I
him?
was good and he was evil. I remember we got into combat once, and I picked him up like he was a football and charged in.
You were running, and then Aaron described his character being held like pretty much your arm was wrapped around his waist. He was also running.
That was hilarious.
That was peak.
Arms waving back and forth, legs squirming for their lives. but he's being carried over.
he was running too, but he wasn't really running. He was just being held.
He's just being held. He was doing his best, okay?
It was really funny.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, we could talk more about the D&D sessions because we'll have to like prep and try to remember more about.
God, yeah, that was so long ago.
Yeah, those aren't as fresh in my mind, and honestly, a little not as like I don't think there was as many memorable moments compared to the Call of Cthulhu ones, but still, I'm sure it
Yeah.
could make a good fun talking time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for being on the One Big Puddle. Thanks for drowning today.
It was my pleasure.
Have any closing thoughts, guys?
I remember
you go.
just to continue on with what we were just talking about, I think it was that campaign. There was one moment where I couldn't make it for a session, so you had Kurt take over for my guy, and he played my guy perfectly. Just jock strength, but no brain. And at one moment, despite being in combat, despite having a weapon, I think he stuck it in a tree by accident trying to swing the sword, got it stuck, and was like, well, I don't need this, so I'm just going to run over and punch the person.
Kurt is an absolute gamer.
He did play that one. He played that one game at Delta Green, and he played that session with us.
Game, yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'll look through everything that I have, see if I can remember anything about those old times.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, gamers. I appreciate everybody who watched the stream. Thanks, guys, for listening to the One Big Puddle. Thanks, Aaron and Joe, Boobox and King of the Crows, for being on the puddle. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
We will see you guys next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Later, gamers. Peace.
See ya.
Yeah.